Next up, we're jumping into our Skills Builder workshop, creating a movement. So this is all about how to get people to support your idea. So everyone welcome Dev Sharma.
Hi guys.
Hi Deb, we are really glad to have you here today. So please, the floor is yours. We are really waiting for your workshop and for all the information you have for us.
Thank you so much. I'm so pleased to be here and to present to everyone on how to create a movement. So I'm an activist from the UK. My name is Dev Sharma. I'm 16 from a city called Leicester, and I chair the Bite Back 2030 Youth Board, which is a campaign founded by Jamie Oliver, aiming to revolutionise the food system and put young people's voices at the centre of it. I'll be walking you through a campaign that I've started, which was the junk food marketing campaign. I managed to convince the UK government to ban junk food advertising in the UK. And I'll go through my top tips and the way that I followed the campaign so you guys could recreate. And if you guys have a campaign idea in mind, you can follow those same tips to recreate your own. So just a bit about me. Like I said, I'm 16 from Leicester. I'm currently studying at a school called Winchester College, therefore I'm not at home. This is the dormitories. I've been an I Will ambassador since 2019, part of the I Will campaign. Like I said, I co-chair the Bite Back 2030 Youth Board, which is where most of my campaigning really happens. I also sit as a youth MP in the British Youth Parliament, which is an organisation which represents young people's voices nationally. I was elected with the highest votes in Leicestershire. Last year in 2020, I won the Diana Award for my campaigning and activism around school food and food systems change. And I successfully campaigned to ban junk food advertising online and on television, and that's what my campaign and this presentation will be about. So it all started off with my letter to Matt Hancock, and Matt Hancock was our Secretary of State for Health. I was a bit annoyed because the government said that they wanted to ban junk food advertising, part of their plan to tackle obesity. The government put out a consultation to say that we will be banning junk food advertising. But the consultation was so wordy that only academics or people who had PhDs or people who were part of big businesses could really reply. And I thought, this is going to impact young people the most. Why can't young people influence and be part of the consultation? Why can't they put their voice towards it? The consultation was just something that young people wouldn't read and wouldn't react to, so I wrote an open letter to Matt Hancock. I called on him to meet with me and my friends and to talk about junk food advertising. When I realized he wouldn't reply, the open letter, I changed it and I asked him to ban junk food advertising online. Whenever someone signed my open letter, it would automatically send an email to the government's inbox. So at the end of it, we got thousands of young people to sign my letter, and we basically bombarded the government's inbox. I'll explain to you the steps that we went from starting the campaign to success, and how we ultimately got the government to announce an end to junk food advertising online. So what do we mean by campaigner? Let's talk about the first steps. I think campaigning sometimes seems, and you could be a young person, and campaigning sometimes feels like it's so out of reach, it's so out of depth. And I often look at the people who I'm inspired by and I think, how can I recreate powerful movements like theirs? But it's really simple. There's so many different words for what a campaigner is. Some people call them activists, some people call them change makers or even protesters, community leaders, community organizers, or some people even go as far as calling them troublemakers. But a campaigner is anyone who sees something that they want to change in the world and goes about trying to do that. To be a campaigner, you don't need to have a lot of cash, you don't need to make a lot of speeches or be a whiz about computers. You don't even need to be the most confident person in the room. All you really need is to want to change something. So what is it? What is a campaign? Why do we campaign? Put simply, a campaign is when a group of people work together in an organized and active way towards a common goal. Social action can look really different. It can look as volunteering, as fundraising, campaigning, or even protesting. And why do we protest? Well, campaigning is one of the, sorry, and why do we campaign? Campaigning is one of the key ways that change happens today. because they help tell people that in powerful positions that something is wrong and get them to fix it. So now to begin with, how do you plan an effective campaign? How do you get ready to campaign? Well, number one, you need to figure out your goal, the big change you want to see. So if I put this in terms of context with my campaign, I was in the middle of lockdown. I was doing my GCSEs, which are exams that every young person aged 16 has to take in the UK. And whilst I was studying, my teacher would send me a lot of videos to watch on YouTube. And all I could see was in the middle of a global pandemic while studying were junk food advertising. Continuously, whilst my videos were playing, before they played, after they played, whilst I was studying, all I could see was junk food advertising. And that was the only type of advertising I was really seeing. When I was on my social media and I was scrolling down, I was seeing junk food. And I pretty much had a goal in mind. My goal was to get junk food advertising banned, complete ban. And that's what you should replicate with your campaign, is have one steady line, one main thing that you want, instead of having multiple aims and criteria and multiple things that you want the government to get and give to you. The second thing, you want to research your campaign to check that you've got the facts right. So with my campaign, I knew that this was an issue because the government actually published a consultation where they said that over 15 billion junk food ads were seen by young people in 2019. So the government had already told me, basically, that this is an issue, that 15 billion junk food ads are being put onto young people's screens. And that was enough driver for me to want to create change, and that was enough research for me to tell the government that actually this is an issue. And lastly, you want to set some objectives. What are the things you need to happen to bring about your goal? So with me, I knew that I wanted the government to meet up with me and my friends so I could explain the problem. I don't really think that when the government put out their consultation, they really understood how drastic junk food advertising was on young people's lives. And that's why my objective was, I want the government to meet up with me, number one. Number two, I want the government to have a U-turn and ban junk food advertising. But also within them, there are many tinier objectives. We had, for example, social media posts, community meetings, meeting up in schools, meeting with key stakeholders. Those are all little objectives that you want to set. So now you've thought of your campaign, you know exactly what you want to do, you want to launch it, and you want to launch it with a bang. And launching your campaign, throughout this whole process, there's an importance of creating a point of communication. You need to remember at the back of your head that you're going to have to make sure that your network is strong and everyone knows what's happening. So how do you go about that? Well, number one, you figure out who has the power to actually make change happen. Well, this will be your campaign target. With my campaign, I knew that it was Tory MPs, the Conservative MPs in the House of Parliament. The Conservatives are a party, currently the party which is in government with the highest number of votes. But a lot of MPs in the Parliament who were Conservatives didn't really understand the issue of junk food marketing. They didn't really understand why it's an issue. And when I actually spoke to a lot of them, it was because they just didn't have the facts. So on top of my hit list, which I created, I knew number one were Tory MPs, Conservative MPs, and I targeted them. Number two, make allies. It's always so easier to campaign when you have allies. So it's helpful to look for people who've already campaigned on this issue in the past, a local politician, someone who's said something really about this, even a member of the public who might care about the same issue. This way, you know that you have someone and you have people supporting you who know their stuff. And you don't want to just be the new guy campaigning about something when there's people who've done years and years of research on this and know their stuff. Number three, determine what is going to influence them. The media? Is it the voices of the public? Pressure from peers or decision makers? We realised with my campaign that it was hard facts, that with members of parliament, with MPs, it was only hard facts that would get them to listen. So we framed the campaign as speaking truth to power. And what we actually did was we hired an independent consultant, an expert, to figure out whether our suspicions were right. We wanted to find out, other than this 15 billion number, how will junk food ads being banned actually impact young people? And if these Tory MPs are telling us that actually it's facts that will convince me, because I don't know that these MPs didn't know how well this policy would really do, we hired an independent consultant. The consultant came back with incredible amounts of facts. They told us that if we were to implement a junk food advertising ban, over 125,000 years of extra lives, 125,000 years would be added to the lives of British children in the next 25 years. That means young people would live longer, especially from disadvantaged backgrounds. It meant there'll be less strain on our health service and less strain on our public finances. And that was something that really got politicians and decision makers and these Tory MPs to say, actually, I want to support this motion and I want to support junk food advertising being banned. And lastly, we want to plan and launch your tactics accordingly. What we did was we launched an expose and we launched that at a parliamentary launch. So we fed truth to power. What we did is we took all of this information from this consultant that we hired and we put it into a report and we called it an expose. We then launched the expose at a parliamentary launch and, like I said, fed truth to power. There are so many ways that you can launch your tactics, whether it's through websites, through social media, through group meetings, or even just meeting people at different places. There are multiple ways you can launch your tactics, and having a parliamentary launch is just one. So now you are campaigning and you're in the midst of campaigning and you're trying to build pressure. You're trying to get the main people who you're trying to target to really support your cause. So what do? Number one, you start spreading the word. So you need to have a lot of supporters who will help you win. Supporters can come in all different aspects and forms, from people signing a petition to financially supporting the cause. Some ideas are petitions, traditional media, talking to an MP, or even fundraising. Next, you want to escalate your campaign, so your campaign target feels the pressure. The way that I escalated my campaign was I got people who are in the food industry to support. So we managed to get celebrities and organizations to support my letter. For example, we managed to get Jamie Oliver to endorse our campaign. And we said, Jamie came up publicly saying, this really needs to happen. And he laid out this, and people listened to him. We got charities and multiple big organizations to be beneficiaries of the letter and say, actually, we need to make sure young people's health is intact and is being cared of. And that's why we need junk food advertising to be banned, so young people have the best chance to be healthy. And lastly, you need to be reactive to new opportunities. With our campaign, we had the opportunity to give information straight to 10 Downing Street. And we could have said, actually, we don't want to engage with the government are bad people, etc., etc. But we took up this opportunity. We worked with the government, we worked with 10 Downing Street and fed them the information from our report, from our expose. You have to be reactive to these sorts of things. Also, a lot of things come up on the Sunday. For example, there'll be a new article published on the Sunday in the Daily Mail, and it will be, a fast food company trying to put fake information out there. You need to be ready to react quickly, and I think that also means a lot of strain. That also means, sacrificing some weekends and Sundays, being reactive to new things coming out, being more reactive and proactive. And then lastly, you celebrate. After all of this hard work, you've put all of your energy and effort towards making this campaign work. You celebrate. In June of 2021, the government actually announced an end and a ban to junk food advertising in the Queen's Speech. And once you win the campaign, you shout loud and you say you actually welcome the news. What we did is we sent a letter to the government and we said we support everything that's come out today. Thank you so much for listening to young people. We applaud you, and you shout loud about it. All the supporters who signed your letter, you thank them. That way you have a group of people who are ready to support you for future campaigns too. Now, what are the top tips from my campaign? What are the things that I learned? So, number one, raise the voice. Bring students and schools together to talk about food and make youth experiences and feedbacks and ideas heard by decision makers. A key part of my campaign was making sure young people's voices are center stage. And throughout all of it, we had young people and my friends who are also young people talk about their experiences online, seeing junk food advertising and how it made them feel. Make it fun. You want to have a campaign that your friends will join or that your friends will be part of. Junk food advertising sometimes is a bit of a taboo subject, and sometimes it's harder to get young people to really get happy about it. That's why you try to make it fun. You do interactive things on social media. Another way you can do this is bring in schools as allies. What we did is we connected with local youth energy found in student councils in schools, and we got them to understand the importance of junk food marketing. And having them as active supporters really helps, and having that network and getting their feedback can often be the most honest and rewarding experience. And ultimately, lastly, this goes back to my last point, show success is possible, focus on solutions. So celebrate what other countries have done. Celebrate where policies are working in addition to pointing out their problems. This way, politicians and decision makers can understand that actually, okay, junk food advertising is banned in this country and it worked completely fine. And that's why we can also implement it in the UK. If you show them examples of how it works in other countries, they'll want to listen to you and will want to activate it in your own community. And this is the conclusion. Main things that I learned from the campaign were to collect data. We had to have a strong sense of how big this problem was to attract new youth supporters. Whenever you plan a campaign, you need to get young people involved and make sure you keep them involved. So we got them as part of the mailing chain. Showcase real youth experience. Like I said, we got young people to speak of their lived experience and facilitate high impact wins on the ground. High impact wins are working with schools, decision makers, not necessarily things that come in the media, but really strengthen relationships. And throughout this whole thing, I had a criteria for the campaign. Keep actions accessible, work in collaboration where you can, don't be shy away from the truth, speak power to truth, keep it fun and show success as possible. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Yeah, actually, we do have one question in the chat from Erica. She wants to know what would you say is the most successful way of launching it? Is it better to invest a lot of time, effort into social media, or are there different avenues?
So I think it really depends on your campaign. With myself, we were combating against junk food advertising, and we wanted to. This is like a subject that was very new, and not a lot of people knew about it. So we invested a lot of time before. Actually, we started talking about this in November of 2020 and launched the campaign in February of 2021. So we spent nearly 3-4 months actually talking and how coming up with a game plan, for example. It was also Christmas, so things started to slow down. So I'd really recommend if you get your foundation right and you can start off on a high, then the rest of your campaign is set up for success. So do spend a lot of time on it. With effort on social media, it's also, remember, it's not a one-man's job. You have to have a team. So we had a lot of young people making TikToks, doing social activities, and it was like a whole front. It wasn't just active campaigning for the press, it was also social media, etc. To use all avenues.
Well, thank you very much. It's kind of amazing how much you've been able to accomplish, and you're so young. And my favorite part is everything started with just one letter, and that's something anyone can write a letter, and it really goes to show how much just having a voice really makes a difference. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Coming.